Hello, everyone. Welcome to our new Hangout in a new format that we're trying out. Also, it's Halloween, so if you're into that, enjoy tonight. We're dressed up a little, not too scary, Max.
You can see we tried very hard on our outfits.
I saw some very scary things that I didn't want to wear here. So, yeah.
Was it a competitor's workflow?
The idea for a t-shirt. Yeah. Everyone, so yeah, we're trying this in a new way. So if you join us from YouTube or LinkedIn or Twitter, it doesn't matter. You can leave us comments. We'll see you in the chat and we can answer to your questions. We have a lot of updates as usual. We'll be talking about community updates. We have a couple of really hot product updates for you as well. And then we'll switch to the workflow showcase. And we have a couple of really interesting stories for you lined up there that I hope you will enjoy. A couple of scary ones, actually. So could be good. Yeah. But yeah, before we get into all that, Max, what's been going on with you? You've been super active in September and
then I just fell off the face of the earth, right?
Yeah.
So basically in September, I did the 30-day AI sprint. And you can go check out all the workflows I did as part of that. This was all built in public style. And it's 30-day AI sprint.notion.site. But basically, we did the sprint. And we got a lot of folks getting really inspired from building workflows. So then have been working in my automation cave on the successor to it because I almost died with 30-day AI sprint, got very little sleep. So we're coming up with basically some sort of marathon concept, we could say. And I'll hopefully be releasing that in the next 2 weeks. So keep your eyes peeled on the n8n YouTube. That's where that'll be coming out. We're just figuring out exactly the format and doing stuff, but it's going to be similar to the AI sprint where I'm out in the world, building in public, meeting with other Flowgrammers, and sharing the good word.
Yeah, a lot of community interaction as well, right?
Yeah, so we had an awesome project with Oscar from the community. We built Email Spy, super cool project. We had a nice little launch on Product Hunt as well for that. And then with Marcel, also one of our community ambassadors here in Berlin, we did a hackathon. We actually won second place. We were the only Flowgrammers there. So that was very fun. So yeah, looking forward to hopefully collaborate with the community as well with this new concept. So keep your eyes peeled for that because I'm going to be recruiting Flowgrammers for the project.
It's going to look amazing, Max. I'm sure it will.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you. All right. So let's dive into the presentation here and tell you a little bit about what we're going to be doing today. So first off, and this is me learning how to work with this new tool. First off, I'll start with the community updates as usual. Then we have the product updates. I have a couple of new jobs that might be interesting for you. Then Max is going to take over the workflow showcase. And after this, and I'll give more information on that, there'll be an after party on Google Meet. So we can all see each other again and chat and talk about your project, right? Like we used to before on Zoom. Before I dive in there, quick word on the new format. So why did we change? We really like doing these Hangouts on Zoom, but the quality was not great. We got a lot of complaints about the 720p video and screenshots weren't readable, etc. So that wasn't great. This is full HD. It's looking a lot sharper. We're looking a lot prettier now as well, so that's great. And as I mentioned, you can join us from a variety of channels, and we'll be adding a couple more in the future as well. So you can watch us from wherever you like now. That's great. We'll be watching the chat. If there's any questions, Johannes, who is following us backstage, is making notes, and he'll show them here on screen so we can discuss them. And yeah, afterwards, there's a party on Google Meet. So we'll see you there. So on to the actual community updates. First of all, we had a little celebration last week. We realized we had crossed 1,000 workflow templates in our creator library.
Wow.
Well done, you. I mean, you all created those. We created a few as well, but yeah. But yeah, we see there's a real uptake there. There's so many amazing stories being shared, and people are using them a lot. So if you have something to share, head over to n8n.io/workflows, and you can publish your own workflows there as well. We do take a lot of care to make sure the quality is good. So there's a review process in place. We look at these workflows. We make sure they follow best practices. We make sure the descriptions are okay before publishing them out there, right?
And one thing, Bart, to add, some of you may not know this, when you create a creator profile and upload a template, if people sign up to n8n Cloud through your template, so they found n8n through your template, we're actually auto-tracking that. And if you sign up for affiliates program, we will take that historical basically revenue you've earned and give it to you because you basically helped us gain new users, and you should get a share of that. So if that's something you're interested in, know that that's something that's already sort of out of the box there when you set it up.
Yep, it's very easy to add. So people are getting very successful with it already. So there's the thought for you. Yeah. All right. So yeah, workflows, and also about workflows, we received an update from the community last week. That's Eduard and Julia were building a creator leaderboards like on top of n8n. So here you can see who has been publishing the most workflows, who's been having most users install these workflows as well. And you can do all kinds of searches for keywords and creators and time periods. It's still early days, so they're still working on this. There will be a forum post early next week with more information on this thing. There's a very long link here, so if you take a screenshot now, you can go and try it out. We may post it later as well. But yeah, early next week, you can definitely find more information on this. And I think this is super cool that this is something that we did not have time for yet. And the community obviously loves this kind of information. And so they just build it. That's the great thing of having a developers community, right?
And you can trust it because we didn't finagle anything in the list, right? So this is all the raw data.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, cool. So quick update on our ambassadors. We have 2 new ambassadors in Paris, Claire and Nayel. And they kicked it off right away with drinks, as Parisians do, apparently. So they had a meetup with 19 people coming over there, and they discussed like what they were looking for, what kind of activities they could organize. And they already prepared their next one in December, which is going to be a full-blown workshop with lectures and everything at Le Wagon. If you're in Paris, you might know them. It's a big tech hub. And I will share more details on these events in a bit as well. Actually, I'll be sharing them now. So these are the upcoming events for the rest of the year that have been confirmed. There's going to be one in St. Louis by our other ambassador, Nate Haskins, on November 9th. Then we'll have a meetup in Amsterdam on the 14th. I'll be there as well. Max, you weren't going to make this one, right?
I can't make this one, Mama's birthday, but the next one I'll be there. The next one I'll be there.
Yeah, we have 2 amazing talks lined up already. There's going to be Bram Knuver talking about a dashboard he's building on top of n8n. So again, a project that adds to our software that's going to help you manage your n8n instances and to get statistics and adds folders, in case anyone's interested in that. And then I've been talking to an integration company in the Netherlands that uses n8n extensively for like data brokerage between like financial and legal systems, and they use a lot of AI in that as well. So I think that's going to be a really interesting use case. They use AFAS. If you're Dutch, you will know them. The next Hangout is going to be focused entirely on n8n and AI. So it'll be a different format. It's going to be a Q&A session. We'll be giving you an overview of our AI functionality, showing you a couple of great workflows, like walk you through it. And then we'll be collecting questions in advance so we can really prepare them well and prepare like great answers and examples, and then answer everything you wanted to know about AI. And then, yeah, there's another Hangout in Paris coming up in December. And we're also working on Hangouts in Barcelona, London, Philadelphia, and Miami, probably all still this year. So
I might have to make the Miami one. It's very strategically important for us to be out there, but
it's a lousy job,
especially in winter.
Okay, anyway, if you want to know more about these events, head over to n8n.io/community/events, and you will find the most up-to-date information over there. That said, one more thing. We're also working on a full-blown official n8n hackathon in Berlin. It's going to be in Q1, January, February, something around that. We're in the early stages of organizing it, and we'll share a pre-sign-up registration next week, so we can kind of test the interest and like what you guys are looking for. Like, do you want to have like 1 day or 2? Do you want to like have a 24-hour continuous one or not? Which day of which day of the week works best? That kind of thing. So yeah, hopefully, well, it could be in Ireland. So if you host it, right, just reach out to us, and we might make it work. So you can reach me at bart@n8n.io. So just send me an email. Great. I think with that, we're through our community updates. Checking in with Johannes, are there any questions that people ask that I would I should answer. Germany. Well, so yeah, we do have the hackathon coming up in Berlin. We are also planning another meetup in Berlin. Obviously, that's where our headquarters are, but we don't have a date for that yet at this point. Any other questions, Johannes? No? I think we're good. All right, brilliant. With that, I'm gonna hand over to Julio, one of our product managers, who is going to be talking about a couple of new features that we've released for you guys recently. Enjoy.
So, hi everybody. Nice to meet you guys. Can we have the slides on? Are we having the slides on? Okay. Yep, thank you. Can we move to the next one? Okay, so couple of product updates, and then I will give you a little very quick demonstration of the second point. So the first thing that I want to tell you about today is the duplication function. You remove duplicates node. Can we move to the next one? Okay. So yes, this is a functionality that you will find in the actual remove duplicates node that we already have. But this allows you to deduplicate your items not in the same execution, but across different executions. So what we are actually doing here is we are storing the value to dedupe on the database of n8n. And so you can do an actual deduplication across different runs of your workflow. And we have 3 different logics at the moment for the duplication. So we can check unique keys if the system has already seen the unique keys, or we can check for incremental IDs. So starting from the latest one, and we just pass through only the items with an ID higher than that one. And also we can check the date. So we can store a date and we can let pass all the items that have a date later than the one that is stored. So 3 logics, you find it already there. So you can check the nodes, the node is already there and the function is already there for you to be used. The second one is the multiple pages forms. So what you can do starting today is create forms with multiple pages and using the updated form node. So you can build your own complex logic to guide users through your forms. And I will show you very quickly how it works. And in addition to that, we also introduced the possibility to build your form pages with a JSON syntax, which allows you to create dynamic forms. So you're not kind of limited to kind of hard code your forms in the form builder, but you can have, for example, lists with dynamic items coming from your database or from any HTTP request query. I can quickly show you how this thing works. So let me share my screen. Okay, so I made a little simulation for a customer support form. So let's say this is a form where we want to retrieve customer feedback. So this might be linked from your app, from your website. And as you can see, to start in the form is pre-filled with the name in the email. This data is passed through the URL of the form, so it's also easy, to build a link and find the form, and the user can then find the form partially pre-filled. And then here we have a question. We ask the user, how satisfied are you with the product? And let's say that user is very dissatisfied. We can ask some specific questions. Okay, what are the aspects you don't like? And the user can then go to the next step and leave a feedback. I don't like the color, let's say. And we can also ask the user, can we contact you? Okay, so we can add additional pages with specific questions. And in this case, for example, when I found that the user answered yes to the question, I sent a message to my Slack channel here. And so in the Slack channel, now we see this user is available to be contacted for customer support, is satisfied with the product. Let's get in contact with this guy and understand what the problem is there. But also, if we go back to the beginning of the form, let's say we have another user that comes here and is satisfied with the product. Okay. In this case, we can ask another question. So we are branching on another part of the workflow, and we say, okay, what are the aspects that you like the most? And this data is actually coming from Airtable, so it is not hard-coded into the n8n form. And maybe next we can ask the user, okay, do you want to be a testimonial on the website? Let's write down a sentence that we can maybe reuse on our website. And there we go. The user can leave a comment, and now we are storing the information elsewhere. So this is the structure. So classic n8n branching, and wherever you see this green icon is a form page. So we start with a form trigger. We branch following the logic that we want. In this case, I was branching for 1 or 2 rating, 3 rating, the 4 or 5 rating. And as you can see here, for example, I'm retrieving some information from Airtable, and using that information, I'm building a page dynamically using this JSON syntax. So not only limited to build your pages are coded, but you can kind of create these dynamic forms pages. This is it. In addition to this, I like to mention that I will share this template on the template library, so you can also take it, start from it, modify it, and use it for your own projects. Happy to answer questions if there are.
This looks amazing, Giulio, and I know we had a lot of questions about such updates to the forms, and I think this is going to unlock a lot of use cases. Johannes, did we get any questions? No questions yet. Max, are you inspired by these new possibilities for your new experiments?
You have no idea what I'm already thinking of. The amount of times I had to use some third-party web app or front-end builder. There's so many use cases now with the multi-form steps that we can build. Also with redirecting that on certain logical cases, you can have them redirect somewhere else, right? Because you don't have to respond with a form. Mm-hmm. So yeah, very excited about this. And you probably see a few templates coming out from me using this in the next weeks.
And not just the fact that you have multiple steps, but also that you can dynamically populate them with options and choices. That's going to be amazingly powerful.
I think from my experience with the n8n, the exciting part is going to be not necessarily this feature, which is amazing work, but seeing all the things the community members build with it that we did not necessarily anticipate, or really like pushing this feature beyond, its scope already from day one. So I challenge you, community. What can you build with this?
Also, another thing worth mentioning is that we also added the possibility to upload files in the form. So this also kind of opens other possibilities. You can upload any type of files and put it inside your workflow and do anything that you want there. So this is also kind of powerful.
Yeah. There's a question from Famawi. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And they ask, is the form support, does it support options to get data, I suppose, from external APIs? And I think your workflow does that, right?
Yeah, in my workflow, it actually gets data from Airtable. You can swap that Airtable with anything. So it could be kind of an HTTP request node that retrieves data from any API. You can then kind of manipulate your data, put it in the JSON that builds the form, and there you go. You can, for example, have a list of options in the form that is not hard-coded, but retrieved from an HTTP request. So yes.
What we're going to have to try, Giulio, is getting an AI agent step to generate dynamically the questions based on your previous answers. What for? I don't know yet, but
no, actually, I didn't. In the experiment in the previous version, I asked an agent to check my calendar, find 10 free slots and then propose the slots to the user to book the session. I didn't show it because it was a bit slow because of the AI agent, but it worked perfectly, actually.
You've given me a ton of ideas, sir. Thank you.
That's a brilliant example. Yeah. Thanks, Julio. There's another question by Stefan, and they ask, what would be cool for a dedupe node would be to filter by text content similarity, so not just hard values. Is that something that we can do? Because there is an expression field for the values that you search on, right?
Yeah, we have an expression field, but I will definitely take a note and add it to the list of the features for the future.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other idea that people on the community might have? Feel free to get in touch with me or even post it on the community. We're always there to check what is going on. Definitely.
All right, I think that was the last question on this section. So thanks, Julio. That's for this amazing update, and we'll hope to see you again soon.
Thanks for the great work.
Cheers, man. Okay, so heading back to the slides then.
What do we got next, Bart?
What we have next is the jobs update. So as always, we have we have multiple jobs open, but I selected 2 of them for you. Hang on.
I was going to say, I don't think the people want my face bigger. I think they want to see a slide there.
I think so, yeah. Oh, we're all the way back. This is the new tool thing, guys. We'll get it figured out. Here we go. So the tool, the 2 jobs that I selected for you this time are 2 engineering roles. There's a testing and QA engineering role available, and obviously we have more seats available in the AI team. So if that's something that you're interested in, let us know. There's also tons of other roles available. If you head over to n8n.io/careers, you can see them. I added a little slide here with some pictures of our recent offsite in Tuscany that we had with our entire team. I think there were about 45 or 50 of us there for a couple of days. Some very intense days with workshops, but also a lot of fun, having like tours in the city. And
Don't forget the pasta, Bart. There was a lot of pasta.
There was a lot of pasta indeed. Yeah. So that was, we had a great time. So if you're looking to work in a startup with a great culture, with great respect for other team members, with a lot of fun, consider having a look on our careers page.
And on that note, I'll say I was looking at my LinkedIn. I'm thinking I'm at 4 years and 7 months at n8n, and heart of my I don't know what my heart is, but you trust me in this. Best job I ever had. So take it for what it's worth. Say it on camera. Best job I ever had.
There you go. Yeah. All right. And I think that is the last bit I had before the workflow showcase. So Max, this is your part. Take it away.
Thank you. Very exciting. Yeah. So we got a workflow showcase. We've got 4 or 5 workflows to show off from the community. Thank you to everyone that did this. We've even got a few Halloween themed ones or a few spooky ones. So we've mixed those in. Maybe you can guess which one's which. But the first one is from our community member, Nate Haskins, who I think, but if I'm right, also organizes the St. Louis event. Is that right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Nate, how's it going there? Oh,
how we doing?
I like the outfit.
Nice.
Community. Nice hats, guys. Hello, community.
And Nate, you've got a WordPress content generator to show off for us today. Is that right?
Sure do. Yeah, there was some excitement about WordPress last time in the community, so this time we're going to do a demo.
All right, well, take it away, Captain.
Okay, so this demo, we've got a video we're going to play here, and we're going to step through how to generate content using n8n. And this is where I'd point to the screen.
Yep,
and exactly. It magically starts playing, right?
Yeah. To be honest, I will start this one.
Hey, everybody. So I made a plugin for WordPress that lets n8n talk to it and create content. So we'll step through that. This workflow right here, if I run this, it's going to do 2 things. It's going to generate content for pages up here, but then what we're going to talk about is this generates a post. So if we look at the WordPress page right now, there's no posts on it. But there's a configuration in the site over here that tells this thing that we want a post about monsters that's in the voice of Shakespeare. And then we instruct it, give us a classic movie monster review and generate a post about it. So we give it some criteria. All that is to say that when we reload this, the end result is that n8n has just created some content for WordPress. And so if we click into this, we can see, pick the movie Dracula, 1931 too. And so we could see, lo, gentle reader, gather round as we embark. It's very Shakespearean. So all this is generated in n8n with this workflow. So if we dig into what this workflow is doing, we can get a little bit of insight into what it does under the hood. So I'm going to go to my history of workflows here. We'll go to generate drop post from instructions. And this is what's executing when that workflow is called. This is the sub workflow. So let's zoom in a bit here. So what happens is the first thing it's going to do is do a quick HTTP request out to the WordPress server, and it's going to collect the data for its requests. And so you get back this JSON object that's giving it instructions. It says pick a classic horror movie, gives it some global instructions, which includes the style of rating we want. And so it loads that data in. The second thing it does is it takes that data and then prefixes it with some instructions about how to return the content. In this case, we want like good semantic markup for SEO and screen readers, and basically just good form that's going to plug into the site. So we specify it there. The next thing we do is we kind of mash stuff together to create a query or a prompt for the AI. So now we're combining those pieces. This step here is pretty much what it looks like. We're going to go out to GPT 4.0. We're going to hand it our new smashed together prompt, and it's going to give us back the response we're looking for that post. This chunk over here is going to package the data in a way that the plugin and the API on WordPress wants to see it. And when that happens, it then gets to the HTTP request at the end. This request is going to take that data we just made, and it's going to send it. We can see it over here. There we go. There it is. So you can see how it's chunked in sections. Try to zoom in a little bit there. So it's wrapped the markup in our request. So now this is in a format that'll look good when it gets to WordPress. And so with the end piece there, it then makes a HTTP request out to the plugin, and then the end result is that we get this post. And so that's the whole loop of how that works there. And it can work for other parts of the site too. It can inject content into different things there. So that's the shtick and how it works in a nutshell. The other side, the drop zone stuff, is a little more complicated in terms of just steps within n8n, but I'd be willing to talk about any of this kind of content generation stuff for WordPress in a longer format, but I'm almost out of time. So if you have any questions, in the chat. So thank you for checking out this plugin and workflow. I appreciate it. All right, have a good one.
Wow. Nate, you're here, you're there. It's the power of modern technology.
I think there's an episode about this. It's like two Rikers, but yeah, we're everywhere.
Very topical. Love it. As we wait for some questions to come in, Nate, I'm curious, any learnings when you were going through this, anything you would have done differently, anything to pass on to folks now that you had to figure that out when you were building that?
Oh, okay. So what's exciting about it is building the WordPress side of it was fine, building a bridge to connect to n8n, but now that it's in n8n, that content you can deliver, it can be so customized. It starts with just a simple generation, but you can send it to an SEO service to make sure that content is rich with SEO, and then send that back into the system. So I'm really excited about the options to how you can expand that content and then deliver it to a platform.
Yeah, I'm one of the first things I was thinking as well is on top of that, you got all this is just slap in some localization. You got this in 28 different languages, right? Yeah, sky's the limit.
Absolutely, absolutely. One other fun thing to mention too is that at the top level, you can specify the writing style. And so if you regenerate, it'll go back and redo your writing style on those posts. So you're not punished as a brand if you have to change your messaging.
Ah, very cool. Very cool. Any questions, Bart, or should we move on to the next?
I have a question. Am I allowed to ask questions?
You know what, Bart? Go ahead.
So Nate, you mentioned that you're using a plugin to ingest the content into WordPress, and I was curious what the plugin does in addition to the regular WordPress API that can also do a lot of things.
Oh, sure. So the plugin taps into the WordPress API and then extends it out a bit to accept a more rich set of data. So we're using the native API for WordPress, but we're going to give it some special instructions in the plugin so that it talks to n8n. It's about 2,000 lines of PHP.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
Good old PHP.
Yeah, good old PHP.
I missed those question marks.
Probably 1,000 lines of Python, but hey, here we are.
I think Roshan here has a question that was related to what I was asking. Like, can you do this with the WordPress node, just like bare bones? But you actually need some additional functionality, right?
You do. Yep. You'd have to talk to the WordPress API to send that messaging over.
Brilliant.
Great. Yeah. All right. If there's no more questions, let's keep this moving right along. We got a lot of exciting workflows to get through here to showcase.
Thank you, community.
And thank you, Nate.
Thanks, Nate.
I'm sure we'll be seeing Nate soon enough. Hi, Tyler. How's it going? Hi.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
We're joined with Tyler Thompson today from Sanctify, and I have it on pretty good authority that Tyler's got a really interesting human in the loop use case with some of the AI stuff you guys have been working on. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah,
Right,
we're
Tyler.
excited to show you here.
Take it away, please.
All right. Okay, so hi, I'm Tyler with Sanctify, and at Sanctify we are very pro-human, and so we believe that even in this post-AI world, humans are going to be very important. So we're looking on how we can make human integrating with human intelligence very easy, especially for n8n developers. And so we have two paths we're going down. One is human as a model, and one is human as a tool. And so human as a model, that's when you would want to take your lane chain node and swap out the brains instead of OpenAI or whatever it might be, and swap it out for a human. And then the human would react just like AI would be. And so I'm going to demo that here in a second. And then the other one is human as a tool. And that we'd use that for AI when the AI needs to escalate to a manager or choose when to get a human involved with creativity or with compliance issues. And so that's the idea behind all of this. And here's the idea. So the idea is that we're going to simplify this. So obviously we can build all these things in n8n very easily. And but when we're looking at this, what we want to do is be able to say, okay, from n8n, I want to be able to tap into a Sanctify node very easily through ham or hat. And then behind Sanctify, I can go out and integrate with anything that's going to be touching the human side of things and get the response from that. But then we also can tap into the Sanctify worker portal, which is a scalable workforce. So you might be able to get people 24/7 available to answer questions real time. And that can be specific worker pools that actually could be trained for doing certain tasks. And so that is what Sanctify has actually been built on, the legacy platform. And so so we're figuring out how to tap into that. And as I'm sharing here, I can't see you guys, so tell me if I'm going too fast or anything like that. But so here's the demo. Let's pretend like you have an image, you have a goal. A client comes to you and says, "Hey, we have 300,000 images, and we want to create a caption for each of them. But we want it to be validated by a human because we don't want to let AI go wild with it, right?" And so our stack here is going to be n8n, our Sanctify ham node, and our Sanctify workforce. And so that's an on-demand workforce. And what that's going to look like is getting an image, having AI generate the image, having a human validate that caption, and then if it rejects it, it'll come back and fix the changes, and then keep on going through. So the human gets the last input on it, and so it's whatever the human says, and then we'll save the caption. And so let's just go do a demo of that real quick here. So here's, obviously this is gonna be hard to see right now, but this is the whole workflow. We have our get the image, AI generate, validation, and then we're gonna infer and save. And so I can zoom into this and we can go into it in detail. But right now, this is what we're really interested in here, is the captain validation. And right now I have it pointed just to OpenAI. And so without any changes, I'm just gonna run that. And that's gonna come through. AI is going to generate a caption. AI is going to validate that caption, and then it's happy with it and it's going to save it. So that's great. Now the difference to change this to ham, and get a human is actually just pulling over our node over to the Sanctify. And this is OpenAI right now. We don't have a custom node for this, but all we're doing is an OpenAI compatible API. And so I come in here with my credentials. For Bob, the model is going to be the workflow ID on the Sanctify side, and then there's the endpoint that we're going to switch to, and then a timeout in this case. And so now I'm going ahead and do the exact same thing. I didn't make any changes to any of the prompts or anything like that. Now it's sitting here and it's waiting for the human. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to pretend like I'm a worker who's logged in. I'm in the worker portal and I'm ready to take on tasks. So here's my task. And so let's say, so here's the caption, lost in the thought. And I'm going to say, mention the shirt. And so then I'm here as a worker, and I'll go and do the next one. And I'm just going to wait for the next one to come through. And there could be multiple ones coming in at the same time. So it comes back here. Here's the original caption. Here's my input. And then here's what it says that AI has said, okay, I'm going to correct it based on that. And I say, okay, that looks great. And then I'll submit that. And so as we come through here, it's obviously going to come through here. Instead of coming back and getting back to the AI generation, it's going to come in here and save it. And so then now I'm going to come here. I'm going to refresh it. It's just in our database now. Here's our caption. And then here is the detail of the worker who did the work. And then here's the history so that somebody can come through here and see what was actually inputted by the human, and then the final output there. So that is the quick demo, and I can dive into any of the details here, but I don't know how many minutes I went there. So, so any questions there?
So I've got a comment off the bat. My mind is blown. This is fantastic. I love human as a tool. I'm gonna start saying that. But that's
right. You can get another T-shirt.
And exactly. And I think one of the things is I could see some ways to home roll something like this in n8n, but you're gonna have a lot of different moving parts and whatnot. Having this all streamlined seems super valuable. Thank you so much, Tyler.
That's great. Thank you.
Any questions coming in, Bart, on this one?
I don't think we have specific questions yet. Just people seem to really love it. Got some comments from the team here as well.
Then I would have one from my side, because this is what's available now. What's next up, Tyler? If you're able to share anything with
I would say the next thing, because the whole thing is between synchronous and asynchronous, right? Because we know that we can do all these channels and we can do them asynchronously. Now, if we're going to use hat and ham, AI is going to be expecting that workflow is going to stop and wait for a response. And so those are the kind of things that we're looking through. And that brings up a great thing. Max, thank you. Is that here is a form. It is not an n8n form, but it is a form that you can fill out. And this would help us because we're just trying to get a feel for what are the use cases that people are looking for, and what are the things that we should be working on toward next. And so so we'd love to have you sign up for the beta, and we can reach out to you and just see what your work, your use cases are, and see how we could move that, because this is definitely something in progress that we're working toward.
Very cool, and you'll definitely expect seeing a sign up from me on there. I'm excited to check it out.
That's so great. Thank you.
This is exciting, Tyler. Thank you, and we'd love to see you back here in the future to see how you progress with this product.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks so much,
Bye-bye.
Tyler. All right. Well, the show continues. We got a few more awesome workflows to show off. Jorg, are you ready for us? Hi there.
Sure. Hi.
How are you doing?
How you doing?
And so, Jorg, I have it on the good authority that you're going to show us how you're automating some X-rays at orthodontal offices. Is that right?
Yeah, we use n8n quite a bit in our also office. We have about like 10 workflows or maybe 12. This is one of them, and the application is targeted that it runs on a tablet computer in the operatory of a dentist office, and it shows on the click the dentist exactly what he needs to do. So I show you 3 programs altogether. So n8n is used as a middleware between the dentist management software and AppSmith, which is a GUI I use. So the problem is here, normally dentist goes and he sees this the appointments, then we have account information where he wants to have it. We have some chart information, what needs to be done, for example, on the patient. And we have all kind of data, including X-rays. So normally the patient or the dentist would be delivered by a system with all this data, and yeah, we want to automate it. So what's going to happen? I say this patient, Jörg, that's me, is now in the room. I click here on the right. So I say it's in the room, and what's going to happen is, as a result, we have this application here running, and sooner or later it's polling. Actually, it's not, I couldn't find another way other than polling. It will show with AppSmith the X-ray and the name, patient number, how much he paid, what is the total treatment, and that is all the dentists need to know. So it's polling time, I think it's 10 seconds or something. So that's fast enough. Now, if the front desk says, for example, now the next patient is in the room, clicks in the room, it will change and collect different data. It will show the X-ray. What AppSmith can do, it has some nice functions here. You can click on it, you can move it, zoom in, zoom out. So that's useful as an indicator. Otherwise, you would have put in the X-ray somewhere in paper form. And well, that's what it does. So quick and dirty, basically. Now, how do we program this? AppSmith has some built-in automation. So we can do, well, first of all, we have all these nice widgets here. So like a normal GUI point and click thing. And we can add JavaScript anywhere a little bit. So it is really also low-code solution. So you can really do a real fast GUI development. And it runs instantly, so you can add it right away. You may notice that I did some tweaking, for example, in n8n by adding this heading, for example, to the X-ray. Yeah. The problem with AppSmith is it does not have any means of reacting to external events, which would require WebSockets. It doesn't have that, so you really need to do some polling. The second limitation is, or advantage, if one field updates, then you can have exactly another one field updating based on the content. So if one variable changes, you can load the image, for example. But we have multiple fields here. You cannot update them all. So that was a problem. So you really have to base this one here. I think the loading, I just add some random number to the loading every time I'm polling. It's the time, and n8n will just submit this to the previous program as a middleware, and it will ignore this, but it's updated, so you can reload the image. So that was a solution for me. Quick and dirty, yeah. Now, so that was a user interface. Then we have some JavaScript functions, really easy. We need this polling to begin with. So this is all you need as a JavaScript, the polling. So it's 10 seconds. It will run this n8n in room. This is a query, actually. So you have some queries. So this is n8n in room. This is my n8n installation. It will just call a webhook. And yeah, the other ones are directly to the previous program. So n8n doesn't do everything, but it does some kind of data collecting and assembling all the data which is scattered around otherwise together and put it in the widgets. That's what it is for. So you need really 3 programs plus a database. This is my WireDB, but we don't access the database itself. We use the API of the Open Dental practice management software. So n8n then is pretty much straightforward. So it's more about AppSmith and integration with n8n than about n8n itself. So this is the every 10 seconds we go in here, we collect the data, we merge it, we make all kind of database requests through not directly but through the API. Sometimes it's like, yeah. We also collect which patient to display, which data to collect, and we take the latest X-ray. We don't take all X-rays. And then we
comment. You're hitting the 5-minute mark. So
yes, okay, I'm almost done.
Thanks.
And the other one I want to mention is I don't know how many people use this edit image node. So this is just for getting the panoramic image. It just calls a webhook, reads the data, edits it a little bit, and responds to it. So that's all about it. I figured it was more work than I thought in the end, but this was due to my personal limitations, I think. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jorgen. I can imagine for any dentist using it, like as with a user experience background, looking at that nice stripped down contextual view of exactly what you need versus that, app full of buttons. I can imagine really speeds things up. Bart, any questions for the community?
Nope. I got some praise here from Johnson and Surafel. And so, yeah, it's really cool. Now I remember you covered this software before, Jörg, when you were like optimizing the heating in a doctor's office.
No, that was different. That was different
different
software.
Okay.
This I didn't use that one.
Okay. interesting. But I like your way of thinking of connecting these kind of systems together.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Jörg. Looking forward to the next thing you present some point in the future. Cheers.
Sure.
Thanks, Jörg.
But the automation train must go on. I thank you, Bart, for keeping us on time because I'm a talker. So without you, it would probably not be. Ben, hey Ben, how's it going?
Hey everyone, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So Ben, sounds like you've got a Spotify Discover Weekly export workflow. What does that mean?
Yeah, so to keep it Halloween themed, I think that losing your new favorite song is very scary. And even worse is destroying your very temperamental Spotify algorithm. In my experience, adding songs to algorithms or adding songs to your Discover Weekly seems to be very heavily weighted. So I originally was adding my whole playlist into a playlist to save it, but I needed a way to back it up without affecting my algorithm so heavily. So every Monday, Spotify puts out 30 new songs in a Discover Weekly format for you, which is seen here. So every Monday, this regenerates at midnight for me, and it gives me 30 songs. And I listen to these daily, and sometimes there's good stuff, sometimes there's bad stuff, but I don't want it to affect me so much. So we have a trigger that runs it at 4 o'clock in the morning. The Spotify node pulls those tracks. We edit the fields down, and we're going to take this data and divide it out to upload it to YouTube into a playlist, as well as a Google Sheet to keep all of that information saved. A really important thing I learned is you need to limit when you're doing testing, because the YouTube search in the HTTP request is very expensive. It's like 30 credits per search. So when you search 30 things, it uses up your credits quite quickly. And then we had to do a little bit of field editing in order to make them into a YouTube link, because that's what you're able to upload into a YouTube playlist using the playlist node. So we can run this workflow, and you can see we have some songs here, and we have our Excel sheet here. And when we run this, we're going to go through, and it's going to add these things to the YouTube playlist in the Google Sheet. And when we refresh this, we should have 5 new songs or 3 new songs with the limit that I set onto it. And we can see that we've added them into the Google Sheet as well. Something I'm still trying to figure out is the equal sign sometimes doesn't work. So I'm still figuring that out. And then, oh, the YouTube search looks like it didn't get quite the right song here, but otherwise we did add 3. So it's pretty much how this workflow works. And it's saved me from losing songs that I've come to love. And I also have a playlist of 570 songs from every Monday running for the last few months.
Very cool, Ben. I'm curious is there any learnings for folks if they start using the Spotify node or anything interacting with Spotify? I'm guessing we got quite a few Spotify users here.
I would say the Spotify node itself was really straightforward. It's able to pull pretty much all the information from a playlist. So going through that data, though, it gives you a ton of excess information with all these markets. So every song, when it pulls a ton of data, a lot of data. So when I went in to edit the fields for that, it takes a bit to parse out the things that you need. So those were kind of a hurdle for me, was parsing that data down to something more usable.
Gotcha. And I recommend to anyone, if you're working with AI with this, always be parsing down your data before you're sending it to AI. It's going to save your wallet a little bit of grief. Cool. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. And Bart, we got one more lucky workflow to demo off. Mario, you ready for us?
Yeah, hi there.
Mario, good to see you. Nice.
Hey, Mario.
Likewise.
One of our community members. And Mario, you've got a workflow on automatically replacing outdated workflow or outdated nodes in your workflow, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so let me show you this demo workflow. So maybe you have many workflows lying around, and then it keeps changing and updating, but you don't know if anything of the nodes have updated. The only thing you can see in the settings down there is that here, for example, this is version 1, and the latest one is already version 2.2. And it would be great to have a way to see what has changed, right? So there was actually one other community member called Michael. He built a nice workflow, which then gives you a list of outdated nodes. So here's a pinned data I have. So we have a list of all the workflows, and within which nodes are outdated, you see which versions, the name, the type. But then you still have a list, and you have to manually check in and replace them. And what you then, of course, looks like this. You have Notion, then you have to check, okay, which type is it? Okay, it's get database. I grab this one. Then you check the settings. You have to copy the settings over here. It takes a lot of time, right? And that's why I thought, why can't we maybe take it a little bit step further? So I built something which outputs this. So this is the original node. It gets an emoji appended, so you see, or pre-appended, so you see that it's outdated. And also, it automatically adds, like behind it, a new version of that, and also copies all the settings over. I have to say that doesn't work all the time, because if there are extremely breaking changes, the migration might not work, but still you have one step less to do. And so before replacing it, you can just double check these two nodes. If everything is fine, remove the connections, remove the old node, and put on the new one. So how this works is I built it as an add-on. I believe it's kind of first thing to see here in this part, like, because I built a workflow which is executed by the original workflow from Michael. So the only thing you have to add is an execute workflow node, and then it triggers this workflow. And what technically happens here, we start with some settings. There you have a few options you can check. The instance-based URL is needed later for email notification. I'll show you that in a second. But you can replace a symbol if you want to, and you can check if it's if you only want to replace major changes, so from version 1 to version 2, for example, or if you want to have all, just set it to false. And also you can check if you want to add these nodes automatically or not. So that's what you can tweak. And what it does then, it goes through every workflow, which is coming, of course, from the parent workflow from Michael. This is also, again, just an example data, how it looks from that previous workflow. And it modifies it. I don't want to bore you with the details in the code here, but yeah, it technically copies it searches for the node, it copies it with all the settings, changes the version, and very important, it puts it to the top of the list, so it appears in the background. That's, I believe, in n8n the default. So the hierarchy within the workflow file depends on the layers. And yeah, then at the end, it updates the workflow, so it overrides it and prepares a little bit of output. So a link gets generated, which we then use in a Gmail node to send, like this here, a simple summary, so you know which workflows you have to look into, and then it's pretty straightforward, just replace that. And yeah, the workflow is up for a week already, so you can get it in the templates library. That's for that. Maybe one thing, Max, challenge accepted. You were telling about the form, or the form pages have been introduced. I just wanted to quickly mention that I got lucky, and actually today a new template got released of mine, which enables you to import workflows from different n8n instances and also map the credentials automatically. So you don't have to manually copy and paste and then look for all the red nodes and select the credentials there. You can just do it within a form. It's a 4 or 5 steps, and then you're done. Or alternatively, you can also upload a file. So either a file, or you can specify remote instances.
I don't know about you, Bart, but I love seeing these like using n8n, like home rolled solutions like this
Right.
to help administrate n8n. Obviously, native features would be great, but we're not going to be able to build everything and not overnight. And just to see how flexible the community can be in building that stuff. Mara, I also love that you remix someone else's template, giving original attribution. And that's kind of what OSS is, right? That's what open source is, taking something someone else built, extending it, ideating on it. Great contribution. Thanks so much. I can see that helping a lot of people.
It's awesome. And as Oleg said, you're extending n8n with n8n. And I think that's amazing. Yeah, it shows you the power of the tool, right? And also not like super related, but I want to make you a compliment on the layout of your workflows. It looked really clean. And I liked what you did with the 2-color sticky note thing that you did there. I was like, how did you do that? And then
thank you.
Really nice. All right. I don't think there's any questions about this, but you can find his workflows on the workflow library. So go and check it out. And I think with that, Max, we're at the end of this show. I just
so soon.
Not so soon. Well, it's almost 6 o'clock here, so it's about time.
Time flies.
Yeah, it does. I'm heading back to my slides, and they disappeared again.
But your slides. Hello.
2 more things to show. Small stuff. Don't worry. Yeah, here. I just wanted to mention that our next Hangout is on November 28th. And as I explained before, we're going to be going all in on AI. We're going to be showing you all the basic features. We're going to be walking you through some real world use cases. And then there's going to be a large section on Q&A, and you can submit your questions beforehand so that we can properly prepare examples to answer all of that. This event is not live on the events page yet, but it will be early next week. So keep an eye on that, and then you can subscribe, and then there will be a link to submitting your questions as well. With that said, this is the end of the official part of the show. So thanks everyone for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this new format. Max, how did it work for you?
I think it was stellar, Bart. I think you're a gentleman and a scholar, and thanks for doing the research, because I don't know, this is like, it's like n8n's growing up. You know what I mean? With this,
we're a television station now, right?
Yeah.
Super nice. All right, everyone. So as I promised, there's going to be an after party as well. And to join that, I have one more thing to show you. And that is the URL of the after party. I'm going to open it now, and you can join it, and we can just hang out there together and chat a bit more. So thanks so much. We'll see you again next month. And yeah, take care. Bye.
The password for the after party is flowgramming. This is kidding. There's no password.
See you there, folks. Bye.